Hi, I'm Julia and this is my shed. So today we're back on the Britannia Modelworks kit, and we're going to try and do the cylinder assemblies. So the first thing we need to do is that we should have a gasket between the cylinder back plate, which is this piece, and the cylinder. So there should be a gasket between those two parts, and we haven't got that, so I need to make a couple of those. So we'll do that first. So I'm pleased with how those have come out. Not sure how effective this sealing area is here, but I don't suppose it needs to be. As long as it's sealed around the outside, it doesn't really matter. So we'll get the back plate attached. So this cut-off needs to go on the valve side at the bottom. Next job is assembly of the slide valve, which we covered in a previous video. So all we need to do is just pop it in. So we've got the adjustment from one end now, and there's obviously a lock nut there. Probably what I need to do actually is Loctite this end. So we'll do that first. And the idea is this needs to be able to move very slightly sideways, but not end to end. So we'll pop a bit of Loctite on that, and we should be laughing. So the next job is to put the piston in. I've centre popped this end quite a few times just to stop it from unscrewing from the piston rod, and the rings I've sort of set so the gap is sort of opposite each other pretty much. So that should reduce the amount of blow by. So the hole in here wasn't big enough to let the piston rod through, so I've just used a reamer just to take a fraction of a mil off, so that's fitting nicely. I've got nearly all of the gaskets for the cylinder covers except for this one, so I need to make another one. These seem to be quite thin. Actually, I can measure the thickness of that one. What's that one? Oh no, 0.5. So it's 0.5 again, so I need to use some thicker paper. So we'll make another gasket and carry on. I've oiled the gaskets. That should aid with replacing them or removing them in the future. So we'll pop them in position and get them screwed in. So we've got the cylinder cover in now. I've had to bore out the hole in this back cover. Initially it was too tight, so I reamed it out to 10mm. still a bit tight when it was actually bolted up. So I found the nearest size to 10mm imperial drill that I've got, and I think that was about 10.25mm, and that's just gives a little bit of wiggle room there, and that moves up quite freely. So it doesn't need to be a tight fit here, because really you want it just running on the piston rings and then on the crosshead, so it shouldn't really touch this at all. So the next thing to do is to put in the gland packing. So I think originally that would have been graphite string, but they've actually supplied a PTFE ring, so we'll try the PTFE ring. Unfortunately I've only got one, so I'll have to make one for the other side, so I might video that. We'll have to see. It's fairly straightforward, just a little ring of PTFE. So we'll get these fitted. We've also got to do the gland packing for the piston valve as well, so we'll get those in next. Mail time! So we've got a nice little card come through the post. Look at that. So we've got Nobby has sent me some stickers for his workshop. The card actually is absolutely gorgeous. It's a photograph done by Mrs. Nobby. She's into photography, as we've recently found out. So if you don't know Nobby's workshop, he does a variety of home workshop stuff. The last video I saw of his, he was converting a 120 format film camera to use 35mm film. I'm guessing you can't get 120 format film anymore, but so it allows Mrs. Nobby to use a camera that she wouldn't otherwise be able to. So yeah, he does all sorts of things. If you like watching machining, he does a lot of machining, so it's quite an interesting channel. So if you if you like the sort of things that I do in the workshop, you're probably going to like Nobby's workshop. Yeah, so give him a look, and good luck, Nobby. Keep up the good work. Another view of this lovely picture. So there wasn't much of a gap here as manufactured, so what I did was put an M5 washer on before this. I've just snugged it up, and you can see now we've got a bit of room there to tighten up the gland, so I think that's a better option. So we'll try that and see how we get on. Okay, so we're nearing completing the cylinder assembly for now. I've put these slide bars on. I've only got enough to do one side at the moment. I should probably hold off making some new ones. As you can see, these aren't great quality actually. Because certainly looking at John Bagley's site, he did do quite a bit of work getting these in this area, so I think he rebuilt the crosshead. So I won't go too mad on this section yet, because we're probably going to have to come back to it. Okay, so I couldn't resist mocking at the first cylinder. Looks really nice actually. All the holes in the frame match up, and it all matches up with the gasket as well. Put that in so I don't scratch the paintwork. So I'm really pleased with that. So the next job will be to just give this all a bit of a rough up, and I'll paint it. But I shall do the other one first, get that finished, and we'll paint them both together. So the next time you see them, we'll pop them on the chassis. And just a view of the other side as well. I'm not sure if I can close this gap up at all. Doesn't look too bad. So that's something I've not really done on locos before, is the cladding or cleading. But yeah, I think that'll do. I hope you enjoyed that. Like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. So I've Scotch-Brighted all of the cylinders now, just to rough up the surface, get rid of the surface rust. Obviously the brass needs a good key, even with etch primer, to get a decent adhesion. So the next job is to mask it up, and then we'll get it sprayed. So that's the etch primer done. So we'll let that cool. We'll let that dry and get some top coat on it. So it's a bit hard to see, but that's the first coat of black on the cylinders. They're probably going to need a bit more just to even it all out a bit, but reasonably happy with those. Might have the odd run, but we'll see how it dries. Sometimes runs will dry out.